everyone, tonight I'm going to make some granola, and I just wanted to kind of show you the beginning process. It's okay, I'll let you in a second. I just pulled a bunch of stuff out of my freezer. I was looking around to see what I had. There's some coconut flakes I'm going to put in, some Brazil nuts. Yep, sorry, that's bad camera. Some Brazil nuts, those are really big, I'll just chop those up. I found almonds back there. This is flaxseed, but it's whole flaxseed, you can see. So I'm going to have to run that through the food processor. Our bodies can't break down the shell on the outside of the flaxseed. So to get the nutrients out of it, you have to food process it. Or you can buy it already chopped. I have some lightly salted pistachios. If I put salted pistachios in there, it would be too salty. I want to control the salt myself by adding my own. So that I got the lightly salted for those. I have some sunflower seeds, some macadamia nuts. I found some pecans back there. This is a huge bag of walnuts I need to use some of. I have some chia seeds I'm going to throw in there. Oats, cashews, figgy, just a second. Coconut oil and then honey are going to be my base for the sauce that goes on it. This is a recipe right down here that I've used before. I kind of just glanced at it, but I'm not going to follow it exactly because I don't have the dried fruit for it. So I looked online and I found a couple different recipes. I'm really just going to kind of wing this one tonight. So we'll see what happens. All of the nuts that I'm using are not salted. So except for those pistachios are lightly salted. So you don't want to put salted nuts in because that might just give you too salty of a product. So I'm going to prep my ingredients. I'll kind of chop them up so they're appropriate sizes. And then I'll come back and tell you about what I'm doing. Okay, so I chopped up the nuts so they're in bite-sized pieces, and now what I'm going to do is figure out how many oats I need. I want to do like a maybe 2-to-1 ratio. So if I had a cup of nuts, I would want 2 cups of oats. So I'm just going to scoop up what I have here and see where that leaves me. I still need to also add the coconut and the chia and the sunflower and the flax. So I'll kind of eyeball that. And then we'll determine how many oats I need. So I know I'm going to put the nuts into this liquid measuring cup, and that's not what we're supposed to do. It's for measuring liquids, but a recipe like this, and since I'm sort of winging it, it's not like a cake recipe where it's like a real chemistry of ingredients and you don't want to alter them too much, or you want to make sure you're measuring accurately. So that's why I'm just using this cup for these purposes, because it's big enough to hold them all and it's going to give me an estimate. So I'm at about 2 cups on here. So I'm going to do 4 cups of the oats. But before I do that, I'm going to add, let's see where the coconut adds us. I'm just going to use up this bag because I've got more where that came from. Chia. Ooh, that was sort of a lot. And then some sunflower seeds. So now we're pushing the 4-cup mark here. So it's gonna be interesting for how many oats we use. I also think that. Yeah, it's a little over 3 cups. So that's what we're going to do. I'll do 6 cups of the oats then. I am going to grind up the flaxseed, but that when it's ground up, it's not going to take up any space. And then I did find these cranberries in the cupboard. They were supposed to be used by last September it looks like. But I'm going to taste one and we'll see how they are. And if they're still good, I'll put them in. So 3 cups of nuts and seeds, and then I'm going to do 6 cups of oats, and then I'll come back and talk to you about making the sauce that's going to go on it to hold it all together. Okay, so I added the flaxseed that I ground up in there. I added those craisins because they were pretty good. And now I'm just going to mix it all together. So next I'm going to have to make the sauce, and to make the sauce I'm just going to melt some coconut oil and some honey together. And because I have so much here, I probably want, I don't even know, a decent amount to cover it all. I'm going to go with maybe a cup of sauce to cover it. So we'll see. I'm just going to eyeball it. Like I said, I know this isn't a great way to teach you how to cook, but it's sort of what I do. Looks nice and pretty there. A couple things I wanted to point out. I talked about the flaxseed and grinding that up. That's to get all of the good nutrients out of it. I mentioned at the beginning that I just clean stuff out of my freezer. I keep all of my nuts and coconuts and seeds in the freezer because there's such good fats in them that you want to preserve those. So they'll go bad if you don't use them fast enough. And I go to Costco sometimes and I buy a lot of large amounts of them, like you saw in that walnut bag. And so I don't use them very quickly. So I keep them in the freezer just so that we can preserve those good fats and they don't go bad. Nuts will go bad, and they kind of go bad quickly. And by quickly, I mean like in a couple of months. They're not going to go bad in a week. But especially when it gets hot out and stuff. So I keep them in the freezer just to preserve the oils and the good fats in them. The other thing I wanted to point out was underneath my cutting board, you can see I have the red towel there. If you took Foods 1, you know that is because you don't want your cutting board to move around while you're cutting. So you always put a towel underneath it to help hold it in place so that it doesn't shift. So all you Foods 2 kids, you probably know that already. Senior Foods, I thought I would share that with you because it's a great tip for knife skills. So here's my product. I'm going to go over to the stovetop. Oh, look at the grossness, the bowl left. I just have some honey here. It's sort of crystallized at the bottom, so that's going to need to be heated up to melt it and make it into the sauce. And I'm going to mix that with some coconut oil. I got this big old jug of coconut oil, and I'm going to add some salt to it. You could really do anything you want with flavors. You could add peanut butter to it. You could add cinnamon. You could do all kinds of things. So I'm just going to keep it pretty basic. And so I'm going to go start the sauce, and I'll get back to you. Okay, so I made the sauce, and that's right here. Let's see if I can get it in the camera. So it's just some coconut oil, honey, and salt mixed together, or cooked, heated up so that the coconut oil melted and it kind of comes together. So now I'm going to drizzle it over top of the granola mix and stir it together. If I was doing this on my own without making a video for you guys, I would have poured it right onto here and drizzled the sauce over it and mixed it on there. But this is a far less messy way to do it. It's easier to make sure you get it all coated, and you're just in better control than if you mixed it right on the sheet pan. So I'm just going to pour a little bit in, and then I'm going to stir it around, and then I'll pour a little bit more and I'll stir it around. You just want to get everything nice and coated. Now once I get it all stirred up, it is going to go in the oven because you want to toast up the oats and the coconut and the nuts and stuff. I have it at 300, and I'm just going to do it for 15 minutes and then check it, and then maybe another 15 minutes. It doesn't need a lot of time. So you can see it's starting to get sticky and come together. So I'm going to put a little bit more on. Like I said, I maybe have a cup of sauce here, and I did about let's see, I think I did 2 parts honey to every 1 part coconut oil. So I would have done like 3/4 cup. Well, that's not 2 parts. I'm not good at math. 2/3 cup honey, 1/3 cup coconut oil. That would be 2 parts to 1 part. So it's plenty here. You can see you don't need a lot of this liquid to get it all coated. And it's not like we're making caramel corn or something. We're just making granola, so we don't need to like make it candy coated. Keep it somewhat healthy for us. Now there's a lot of different things you could mix in, a lot of different ways you could do granola. I could add some cocoa powder in here if I wanted a chocolate granola. You could do chocolate chips at the end. I wouldn't bake the chocolate chips in there. You could do all different kinds of fruits. You could do apple cinnamon. I mean, the possibilities are endless. I've even done grain-free granolas where I just do coconut and the nuts and mix it up. And then I just do coconut oil and salt and cinnamon on it. And that's a sugar-free version too. So there's all kinds of ways to do this. So You can tell it's all nice and chunky and mixed and saucy. And so now we're gonna spread it out onto parchment paper, lined cookie sheet or half sheet pan. Parchment paper, I've said this a bunch of times. Parchment paper is not wax paper. Don't put wax paper in your oven. So, here we go. And this pan might be a little small for the amount that I have here, but we'll just make it work. So now I'm just going to spread it out to a nice flat layer. You don't want it, I mean, ideally this would be a thinner layer. So it might require more time in the oven just because the top and the bottom will get nice and toasty and the middle layer maybe won't, so I'll have to stir it a few more times. So I'm going to stick this in the oven, 15 minutes at 300 while I clean up my dishes. Because what you guys don't see when I do these cooking videos is the other half of my kitchen, and it is a disaster. So I'm going to stick this in, I'll clean up some dishes, and then I'll show you when I take it out to stir it. Okay, that was 15 minutes in the oven. You can see it's starting to toast up. Coconut's nice and toasty, but the middle's still pretty soggy. So I'm going to just pile it kind of up in the middle of the pan, because like I mentioned when I was putting it on here, I probably have more on this pan than I should. But I'm just going to keep an eye on it. It will all be fine. There. So I sort of pile it up, and then I just redistribute it all back all over the pan. And this way you get some of the stuff off the bottom onto the top. You can see that it's still kind of wet in the middle there. So we're going to put it back in for another 15 minutes and we'll come back and check it. So I took it out after another 15 minutes, so it's been in there 30 minutes total, and you can see the color's definitely changed. It's much darker, more toasty. The problem is that top layer is good, but then when I get down here, not so toasty. So again, I'm gonna pile it up. And then I'm going to redistribute it and spread it all back out again. So it's starting to get there. It's just not as toasted as I would like it. The oats smell really good, and it's looking beautiful. It just needs a little bit more time in the oven. Okay, here's another 15 minutes. So this is 45 total, and I'm going to call it done. If we stir it around a little bit, you'll see that the top was a little darker than the inside, but I think that it's pretty much nice and toasty. So that was 45 minutes in the oven at 300, stirring every 15 minutes. And now we have this lovely granola that I'm going to take it off the pan and just put the parchment on the counter, and I'll spread it out so it's really a lot more spread out, and then let it just cool like that, and then I'll put it in an airtight container, probably like a glass jar or something, and then I'll just have it in my cupboard and eat it up with some milk for breakfast or on top of yogurt. Who knows? But there's my granola. Hi guys, so I have the granola here behind me. I just tried some. It's not real sweet. So if I were to do it again, I would add more dried fruit because I like a little bit sweeter, like bursts in it, but I don't like the granola to be sweet. So if you like it sweeter, I would do more honey when you make your mixture, or add more dried fruit like I said. But there's the finished product. It's pretty delicious, but not very sweet. Also, I got a little sun today. Anyways, hope you're good. Hope you're staying home. Hope you're healthy. Take care.